and somebody is showing something, how easier if for those 4 policemen, what you have about, like in Osun, for example, we have 3,764 polling points. And for 4 police personnel will be deployed to that area. We have 214 racks. We have 332 wards that's to be covered. And like I said earlier on, we have 48 political parties. We have 1,666,334 registered voters. So all these people will have to provide security for them.
No, Mr. Moshood, very quickly, let's be precise in what we're talking about here, because you seem to be conflating the issue of election security assurance and the issue of the specific process of vote buying and selling. Now, you're essentially saying that everybody's pushing blame on the police. Now, if for example, international observers who are in these, not in the comfort of a studio or anywhere else, but actually in the villages where these elections are taking place, are saying that the police are involved in a process that politicians are involved with, that even the voting population is involved with, clearly that is not a pushing of blame on the police. It's a statement that the police are involved in a process that is wider than the police. So given that understanding now, do you think in your view that there's anything that police officials or the police architecture can do to adjust to ensure that tomorrow such allegations or realities are not taking place?
Thank you so much. I still stand on what I'm saying, that the police is not involved. Truly, police is not involved. Okay. Police is not the one buying, police is not the one selling, but we apprehend the offender in line with the process of the law. And we equally, any police officers or police personnel that engage in violating the Electoral Acts are prosecuted, like you have in river reruns. Some police officers were equally prosecuted along with INEC officials. We are not saying that 100% the conduct, if we are deploying 30,000, for example, like we did in Ekiti, we have not mentioned what we are deploying soon now, so that people who are watching will not say this is what we are deploying. We finished the assessment and we are going to announce the deployment. But what I'm saying in essence is that in Osun, we are going to have 8 commissioners of police. Those 8 commissioners of police will be in charge of each area command, and they are going to monitor the conduct, not only the deployment, the conduct of this police personnel. And they have the responsibility to effect the arrest of any personnel or personnel of any other security agency that will perpetrate any violations of the Electoral Act, and report to the Deputy Inspector General of Police, who will be the overall commander of the operation of Austrian election.
Well, DCP Jimoh Moshood, I sincerely hope that we're keeping you comfortable in our studios this morning. Let's talk about the comforts of our studios. But then wondering, I mean, only recently, the Inspector General of Police, complied with something that was raised by the then acting president, his vice president, talking about the overhauling of SARS. And we've seen steps being taken in that direction. But some people say that this renaming of SARS, as far as they're concerned, that is all that has changed. The nomenclature has changed. Federal SARS from what used to happen in the States. They say they're not really seeing much of a reform being brought about by this renaming of the body under the Nigerian Police Force.
Thank you so much. I think we have gone beyond that, and we want people who are pessimistic to be optimistic that the reform is being implemented and it will give the desired result that the Nigerian wanted. I want to say that any organization that is subject to public opinion, like the Nigerian Police Force, have to grapple with the responsibility of constantly educating the public and letting the public know that our activity is not shrouded in secrecy. And that is why the Inspector General of Police promptly directed that and made the announcement of the reform agenda that has been taking place. As we speak, a committee has been set up under the leadership of the DIG operation, and they are going around the country. If you monitor even on your channels, they've been reporting from the south, from the southeast, from the southwest, from the north central, and northeast, and the north. Entirely, the entire country has been covered, because the statutory responsibility of the department we call the S-Squad, the IGP S-Squad, it will ensure that anybody that refuses to conform are dealt with. The IGP ensured that presently you don't see anybody wearing any fragmented kind of jacket and inscription SARS again. He has asked them to revert back to the conventional police uniform which they are wearing now. That's to let you know that the reform is taking hold until a new uniform that's been drawn up, fashioned out.
They criticize the fact that SARS is still being controlled centrally. They believe that you know, a central control of such an important body dealing with armed robbery and kidnapping doesn't help because it's spread over 36 agencies. How do you hope to do that?
I think on the part I watched some former retired commissioner of police mention that,
Yes.
and probably even from the Lagos end. I think they didn't study in details the reform agenda, because if you are doing something one way and people said that it's not too good, because we know Nigerians are good people. When you do good, they appreciate it. If you do something that's still not up to, they criticize you constructively, and that is what we are doing. The SARS are previously domiciled with the commands, and it was abused completely. You have a creation even at the division of SARS. You have creation even at the outpost of SARS. You have people who are the anti-cartel unit of the force wearing SARS uniform or going to places and say they are SARS. And that is the need to streamline and ensure that they are under the control of the force headquarters. It is not only federal SARS, which is a frontline strike force of the force. You have the police mobile force, which is centrally controlled. You have the counter-terrorist unit, which were equally centrally controlled. You have the bomb squad, which were centrally controlled. But the Constitution is very clear. As the name of the Inspector General of Police is mentioned in the Constitution, so also the name of the Commissioner of Police is mentioned in the Constitution. And it is in the Constitution that the Commissioner of Police of the state is in charge of the supervision and administration of all the personnel in that state. And that is why, as large as Lagos is, we can't create two commands there because it's a constitutional issue. As much as you have much population in Kano, you can't split it into two police commands until when the Constitution is amended for that regard. So, Commissioner of Police, like their fear that the Commissioner of Police in the command will not have a controversy. No. The IGP have directed several times, even in the last meeting he had with them, that you are in charge of all the police formation in your state, and you have reason to discipline any officer. Then, part of the procedure in the force is that if I'm serving in the FCT Police Command, for example, and I go to Imo State Police Command and observe the conduct of any police personnel, I can initiate a disciplinary action against such a police personnel, whether it's PMF, whether it's SARS, except if officers are not abreast with their responsibility. Anybody that derogated, if you do that, you lack supervision. Lack of supervision is not only on your personnel. So when we streamline them, then the human rights officer are created at the division where people can report to. That is to say...
Sorry, GCP, I have to interrupt you. When we come back from break, we'll be taking more questions. Please stay with us. Well, we still have with us Acting DCP Jimoh Moshood, who is the Force Public Relations Officer of the Nigeria Police Force. And we're talking about the 2019 elections and the issue of vote buying and also now reforms in SARS. And he's talked about how, well, the federal SARS is not the only centralized body within the Nigeria Police. But I'll quickly ask this question now, which is from Nyota. He says, the new computerized salary structure, known as IPPIS, brought forth by the federal government is causing a whole hell of a problem in the force. Police officers are crying owing to shortfalls in payment of their salaries due to this system since the beginning of the year, and nothing has been done by the police command.
Thank you so much. The police headquarters is not sleeping over this. The Inspector General of Police even before now.
So it is the true situation that indeed the system
the
is causing
problem, most of the problems have been resolved. Initially, when it started, we had the problem of underpayment, we had the problem of overpayment, we had the problem of non-payment at all. But the Inspector General of Police directed the AIG budget to relocate to the Accountant General office, and they have been working with them, and most of these problems have been resolved. And actually, we make it known to them boldly that we can't take this, because largely some of the personnel have problems, people that are on the field. And most of the problem have been addressed as we speak. And the other one that remains is that forms are issued out at the MSS in the command for people to fill for their complaint and to be rectified. And quite a number have been addressed. And it's equally of significance.
But not all of them have been addressed. I sincerely hope that
not
all of them will be addressed.
We have more than 80-something% that have been addressed.
Well, I hope that the 20% will be addressed very soon. They want me to ask you also about uniforms. They say that, you say that the Nigeria Police will arrest anyone seen buying uniforms from the open market. But the police says they are still not being supplied the uniforms that, they need to do their jobs.
No, I think it would be wrong for anybody to say that. The uniform has been issued.
This is coming from police?
No.
The police people
uniform has been issued on a regular basis to the men directly. And if you're an officer at the quartermaster at the state level, you render account of the signature of each police officer that signed for those for uniform to the force headquarters. And at division equally, same thing. If uniform are sent to the DPO down to the for distribution to the personnel, they equally sign for the uniform. So uniform are being an accoutrement, not only the uniform, including the lanyards and every other thing, beretta and shoe, are being issued at regular basis. But the large number of the force at a time, you may not be able to distribute 300 and something thousand uniform. So you might have maybe to take care of 70%, 30%, and it is being done. So uniform are being issued. It is illegal for anybody to buy uniform in the open market because the Nigerian Police Force uniform is customized and it has some security feature in it, which will be able to detect if you have taken it from the open market. But largely, we complain about uniform has gone to a very minimal level. And,
we sincerely hope that the police will improve its efficiency in distributing uniforms because that's the only
quite
way
efficient.
Officers who actually need
we are quite efficient. You know, we have two
market.
categories of officer. If you allow me a minute, for senior officer from ASP above, the uniform allowance is embellished in your take-home in your emolument. So you buy your uniform from the officer's shop, from the quartermaster. While the rank and file from inspector down are being issued this uniform.
Well, we have to thank you most kindly for coming on Sunrise Daily. There are lots of questions we still like to ask, but we're totally out of time. Thank you for coming on. DCP, Acting DCP Jimoh Moshood is the first public relations officer of the Nigeria Police Force. And that's where we'll have to wrap up the program today. We're totally out of time. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you also for sending in your contributions as well. I'm Maokbe Ogun Yusuf.
Have a great day, everybody. I'm Juri Ngilale.
Yes, and we thank you too, and it's goodbye from Lagos.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this program are those of the maker and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.